Newsflash is brought to you by Franco Trading Enterprise. Still, fun papa fee.
Hi there. Thanks a lot for staying with us here on Prime Morning. And you heard Koku Asante coming through with fellow Ghanaians and our news headline this morning as well. We're now getting to Newsflash proper, the conversation itself. And of course, this morning we're looking at two major issues, the issue of Boko and then also the election rerun, which have all been interest for many people in terms of where we're headed. With our elections and also the peace that we all seek in Boko. We'll be looking at those two issues. You can send your messages to us. Our WhatsApp line is active. And we say a big thank you to Franco Trading Enterprise. Still phones, Papa Pafi. You can get the quality phone you want from Franco Trading Enterprise, Samsung, iPhone, and Nokia. You can get them. Also, you can get your microwave, your blenders, your ACs, your televisions, any home appliance that you need. You have to make your way to Franco Trading Enterprise. They've got the very best for you. And so this Christmas season, you might just run into some promotion as well. So make sure you go there. Go to our branches all over the country and make a purchase from us. Franco Trading Enterprise is guaranteed quality, and that's what we're talking about. And also, you can just check us out on social media. You can also download the app. It's the Franco Trading app. And you can go on our website. It's www.francotrading.com, and you can get all the info that you need over there as well. And core natural fruit juice is what you need. It's made from cocoa pod, and it's the best on the market right now. If you're busy in the day doing all the things you have to do and you want to just quench that thirst and also, make sure you rejuvenate yourself, what you need is core natural fruit juice. Trust me, it's the best on the market. Very natural, no additives and all of that. I mean, it's from Ghana and it's the very best that you need on the market. So please go ahead and enjoy it. Now, we're going to be looking on the front page of the various newspapers briefly. I've got my guest already seated this morning, and then we'll get into the major issues. Maybe I could just quickly introduce them to you, and then we'll look at the front pages of the newspapers. Sitting here this morning, as always, Awal Mohammed is here from the NPP Communications Directorate. Awal, good morning. How are you doing, brother?
Good morning. Thank you so much.
Oh, well?
I'm fine.
You had a lot of trips this week?
No, I've been around.
Accra?
Yes, I've been around Accra.
Oh, you travel a lot, so...
Yes. I didn't go to Kumasi over the weekend, so I've been in Accra, had a restful weekend, and started the week with a lot of activities.
Okay. Awal is always engaged in one activity or the other. Also joining us this morning is Dr. Dramani Bukari, and he's here. He's Deputy CEO of NPA. Good morning to you, Doc. How are you doing?
Good morning.
Good to see you. I like your outfit.
I'm doing good. Thank you. Thank you so very much. And good morning to our cherished viewers this morning. Good morning to my colleagues in the studio.
Awesome. Thank you so much for the time. I really appreciate it. And also joining us in studio, Mr. Richard Kwame Nomayo is here. He's a constitutional lawyer and he's joining us this morning. Good morning, Council.
Good morning. Good morning, KMJ. And thanks for having me. All good. All good.
As always.
As always, yes.
All right. Thank you very much for joining me this morning. And that's my guest. Now, let me look on the front page of Daily Graphic quickly. It says, Otumfuo settles Boko dispute, says Azoka is rightful chief. And it's got him and the president in a handshake. Suspend Kpandai election rerun. Supreme Court tells EC is one of our issues we'll be looking at also here on the show. So these two major issues, we'll be delving into it. Dodge Health Insurance, MTN Momo partner to expand health insurance. And that's the Daily Graphic front page. The Insight says Interior Minister versus Supreme Court, Muntaka accused of using state security to overturn landmark land judgment. That's on the front page of the Insight. Brian stakes NPP comeback on discipline, unity, and grassroots power. And away from that, lawful recognition of Boko Naba key to peace in Boko, says Asante Hene. Our ties with Palestine remain unbroken. Vib Loud's tenure of outgoing Palestinian envoy. And illegal miners lay siege at the black voter as Upper West communities cry for state protection. And away from that, Miniplus Limited condemns raid on its warehouse by unidentified thugs, and small-scale miners call for government support to boost hard rock mining in Huni Valley. That's also captured by the inside. The Daily Gist this morning is here, and it says NPP presidential race. Bawumia leads with 68% in latest poll, and Supreme Court suspends Kpandai by election. Otumfuo presents Bawku Peace Roadmap to Mahama. And you can get Daily Gist this morning and read all about it. Akufo-Addo denies lobbying safe passage for Oforiatta's return, and Adwoa Safo dumps baby father Kennedy for Bawumia. And that's the Daily Gist this morning. The Ghanaian publisher says Bawumia tops confidence poll, and Professor Yanka to Mahama third term is a red line. And Supreme Court halts Kpandai election rerun. Just donates 200,000 Ghana cedis for mosque project. That's also the publisher, the Ghanaian publisher. The news center is here. It says inside ADB's $7,500 per month rent on empty office. And Opong and Nkrumah hands over 2 classroom blocks in Ofuase Ayerebi. Forced law to end Boko crisis, as Antingene says. So margins turn to 35 years from $100 idea to Africa's most certified identity powerhouse. And Akufo-Addo rejects claims of intervening for Ken Oforiatta. As Gracia, Mahama pays MPs, snubs executive judiciary. That's also the news center. The Accra Times is here this morning. It says, Bagbank's life, a testament of mentorship and national impact. Opinion Yaba calls on state to iconize him. And 2 great sons of Upper East laid to rest, Professor Thomas Kabza and David Adinze Kanga, both captured on the front page of the Accra Times. And away from that, Adwoa Safo dumps Ken for Bawumia. Old student of Zamstek, Ilioja's first headmaster, David Kanga. And away from that, ahead of Ghana International Petroleum Conference, NPA hosts CEO's breakfast meeting. And last week I spoke about the initiative that NPA seems to have been putting in place, and also ensuring that, they touch lives as well. And today they headed for another conference. And of course, I would like to say big congratulations to them. And Doc is here in the studio anyway. So yeah, Doc.
Yes.
You are showing the way, eh?
Well, we are trying. If you operate within the downstream sector, you would have come to realize that the issues are turning. And there are too many issues coming up very quickly or rapidly. Almost on a daily basis. So it's important to keep touch with the industry players, which was the basis for the CEO summit, or breakfast meeting, which we organized last week. The intention was to meet with them, to try and get an understanding of what their concerns are at this point in time, and then to work with them to resolve them so they can go about their business without significant impediments on their way, but also ensuring that the Ghanaian public eventually enjoy the benefit of access, security of supply, the benefits of lowered prices, which would normally come as a result of the competitive edge, but largely ensure that we are in a place where we are fueling and energizing this country towards greater good.
Awesome. And, we're going to get into the conversation. We're starting off with the Bawku mediation report that was submitted to the President, His Excellency John Dramani Mahama, by His Majesty Otumfuo Osei II. And for the benefit of our viewers, let's take a quick look at what happened at the Jubilee House, and then when we come back, we'll get into the conversation.
The statement read in part: the return to Bawku on 24th October of Mr. Seydou Abagari, who was illegally ensconced as Bawku Naba in February 2023, subsequent to the vacation by the Court of Appeal sitting in Kumasi of the warrant for his arrest, has led to significant disturbances affecting public peace and security in the area. The government did not in any form or manner confer legitimacy on Mr. Seydou Abagari. As I indicated from the beginning, I was requested by the New Patriotic Party government to mediate in the matter. President John Dramani Mahama, who assumed office on the 7th of January, endorsed that I should proceed with finding an amicable resolution to the current situation. The parties in this dispute have willingly submitted themselves to the mediation process. The Boko Naba Sigiri Abugaragu Azoka has accorded me enormous respect and personally led his delegation at all times to my palace whenever invited. My brother, the Nairi, has for very good reason, sent a delegation of his elders and sub-chiefs at all times that I have requested him to come. They all express confidence in the process and believe that we will be able to work towards an amicable outcome. I started my engagement with my brother the Nairi by appealing to him to magnanimously recognize the position of the law that the Kusasi should rule themselves. After careful consideration, the Nairi made some concessions but gave some conditions for my consideration. Essentially, my brother the Nairi wanted the historical acknowledgement of his ancestral ownership of the entire land that now constitutes the Boko traditional area. He acknowledged that the Kusasis have come to largely occupy that area. Both Kusasis and the Mamprusis who are now occupying those lands are his children. He observed that as a result of colonial interference and in the interference of various governments, Kusasis have asserted self-rule and now lay claims to the chieftaincy of the area. The statement read in part, the return to Boko on 24th October.
All right, so that's Otumfuo Sejutu II, His Majesty, speaking on the issue and presenting the report to His Excellency, the President of the Republic, John Dramani Mahama. Now, some significant thing that was also noticed during this presentation of the report was the cloth that His Majesty actually wore. Now, this is a bit of history if you want. Otumfuo's cloth, which he was dressed in very well, it's called the Nkunim Ntoma. And it's a traditional cloth that symbolizes an elder, a wise person, and nobility. The cloth is also often worn on occasions that demand deep reflection, authority, and moral leadership. And his appearance in the Nkunim Ntoma during the presentation of the report yesterday underscored the seriousness of the moment and the weight of responsibility attached to his role in the Boko mediation process. So what you saw him wear over there is called the Nkunim Ntoma, and we hope that peace would reign in Boko. I would like to start off with Awal. You are very familiar with that area.
Yeah.
You think where we have gotten to right now takes away all the problems that over 100 of people have died over the period.
Thousands,
with
not
thousands, basically.
Yes, thousands.
With the reports that we've seen from the Otumfuo's mediation process and everything, you think this is the point we've got into that the Boko War will end?
Okay. Thank you so much, and good morning to our cherished viewers, and thank you so much for the opportunity. Yes, I think and I hope that indeed this one will bring lasting peace to Boko. This didn't start only this year, as Otumfuo himself acknowledged. Yeah. It was around 2023 that he was tasked to do it. Initially, he invited factions. He invited the first faction, the second will come, and he did that over time. It was this year that he tried to call the two factions together, and they came together and there were no clashes. And that was really positive.
Again, sometime 23rd of April 2025.
Yes. So you could tell. No, it even started earlier. Yes,
I'm talking about the last
April. Yes. So they did all these things, and yesterday he presented his findings, and I am happy that indeed he gave the history that the two factions give to say that indeed they are the rightful owners of the skin over there. So he gave the history that was given to him by the Kosog, that is the Kusasi gate, and he gave the history from the Mampusi gate. And after that, gave legal opinion and all the arbitrations and the court rulings and so on. And he ended up by saying that the status quo must remain since Abugrago Azoka is already recognized by the National House of Chiefs and the Regional House of Chiefs, and so on, and looking at what he had done and the concessions that he had sought from both camps and so on. So he think that indeed Abu Grago should stay. You see, this is just the report. The implementation will come later. Even yesterday, you heard him say that indeed, together with the National Peace Council, and maybe if a committee will be set up so that they will go and sit with them and
the reconciliation.
Exactly, do the reconciliation, which I think is very important. One thing that I can say is that from yesterday, I have not really seen any message from both camps. You see, usually it happens like this. You get their lawyers writing press releases, granting interviews, and so on. So everything points to the fact that what Otumfuo had done is positive. Not everyone will be happy with what he had done, but I think it's positive. My prayer is that if they are able to really come together with the House of Chiefs, the Council of State, maybe the Peace Council coming together to go and meet them so that they sit and do the reconciliation. Because you see, as we all say, even yesterday, he still reaffirmed it that if you go to Boku today, you cannot call someone. Usually they are there, but a lot of the people there are both Mampusi and Kusasi because of intermarriages. Ayarga, the MP, his mother is Mampusi, the father is Kusasi. So, and they cut across. A lot of them are like that. So it means, indeed, why do you fight your own brother and so on? So I think I am happy that it has come to its almost logical conclusion. I hope and pray that this one will bring lasting peace to Boku so that we will be able to really enjoy. Because you see, at a point in time, all the, even today, all the taxes that we get from Upper East, even today, Boku contributes largely because Boku has a very big market. The Burkina people come to Boku to trade. Those from Togo too will come to Boku to trade and so on. So it's really a business center. But unfortunately, because of this thing, a lot of people had fled. That's why when you go to the onion market, almost all of them, the yam market, almost all of them are from Boku. And those who sell these animals and so on are from Boku, here in Accra and in Kumasi and some few other places. So at least people will be able to go back to their hometown. But today, I cannot go to Boku because if you go to Boku, you will have to go through an escort. You understand which town in this country will you go through with an escort, even if you are from there. That's where I come from. But unfortunately, going there is even risky. So I pray and hope that this one will bring lasting peace to Boku so that we'll all enjoy the peace that we have.
All right, very well, thank you. Doc, I'll take your thought on that. Now, the major thing which is somewhat remaining right now is the president's, enforcement. I mean, Otumfuo rightly said that it is now time for the president to enforce this. Yesterday, I listened to the former Chieftaincy Minister, Sabi, spoke on this very issue, and also, highlighted the influence that was made in previous administration onto where we've gotten to right now. And he also mentioned that at this point, we need that enforcement to ensure that whatever decision we're making on Boko, remains and brings us the peace that we want. Is the president able to see from where all of us are seeing and say that, this is the way to go. Let's do regardless of whatever it is?
Well, so I think the criticality of the Boku issue to government was demonstrated yesterday by His Excellency, the President of the Republic of Ghana, John Dramani Mahama, when he gave indication that the government white paper was going to be out within 24 hours. It tells you that the President of the Republic doesn't take this matters lightly at all. And he should not. And every well-meaning Ghanaian should not. Because there are very justifiable reasons why urgency tact and a lot of circumspection should be attached to this matter. The conflict has been protracted for a while now. Thousands of people have come under different levels of loss, including loss of life.
Yeah.
In my very candid opinion, it's about time, or it's long overdue. And government recognizes this, that it's long overdue, that this matter be put to rest. And I agree with the recommendations of the Otumfuo-led mediation. And I believe that government will take the necessary steps to ensure that they come to light in terms of them impacting the future of the conflict positively going forward. I think that His Royal Majesty, the Otumfuo, ought to be commended very highly for the role, for his very consistent role in mediating conflict issues across the country and ensuring that they do not spiral out of hand. Even if they had done so in the past, we don't see a occurrence of those, and that eventually we get our act together and people can focus on their private individual pursuits, but also for the general good of the people of this country. Once the white paper is out, we would see very clearly what government's plans are relative to ensuring that we get lasting peace in Bawku. As His Excellency himself did indicate yesterday, Bawku is a strategic security jurisdiction for this country because of the potential of external interruptions that we could have, and which could have a significant, significant consequences for the security of the state generally. And so for me, the government would look at that within also the angle of the implications for national security. Enforcement is critical, and so you would find that, look, the expectation is not that from yesterday security withdrawal will commence. I don't think so. We are not at the point where we are having, or we can confidently say that the situation has been dealt with completely. No, I think we are just setting out the process. And so it's important law enforcement agencies will continue to be there. It's important they still continue to abide. And you will see from this, that you will see from government's actions, because the renewal of the curfew, as of yesterday, for another period, also still tells you that government is not taking anything to chance. So government still wants to ensure that there's orderliness within the Bawku enclave. But at the end of the day, what has happened yesterday should tell you one thing, that we have made progress, and that both sides of the conflict have always wanted peace, except that the point that they would convene and agree perhaps was always a challenge. And so for me, if they have now shifted positions and they have now, they are now willing to talk, I think again, beyond commending the Otumfuo, we ought also to be commending the parties involved, both the Kusasis and the Mamprosis, for shifting positions beyond what historical, what history would have been behind all of those positions. They have made compromises, which for me is what we need. Compromises ought to be made for the situation in Boku and maybe in all other conflict situations to get a resolution. Because once you begin to make compromises, it means that, you can actually meet yourselves.
Yeah.
Yes, you can meet yourselves halfway. And that's what we have seen. I mean, too many people find themselves in a very difficult situation because, as my brother indicated, Awal indicated, because of the way the two tribes have actually been fused together by marriage, by religion, by business, by so many other things. And so for me, I think it's some good news. It's a lot of respite for the people of Boku, for the people of this country, and for the government. And government will not take this lightly. Government will take the necessary action to ensure that we build on this progressively and ensure lasting peace within the Boku enclave.
Very well, Doc. Thank you very much. Let me move on and also take the thoughts of Mr. Nomanyo. Now, one thing that Otunfo consistently mentioned during his presentation was the respect and the power of the 1992 Constitution. I mean, he repeatedly said that the people should understand that everything that is happening right now, if we're able to achieve the success we want, they have to all look at what the Constitution, the 1992 Constitution actually stipulates with regards to some of these things. You think that it's binding enough for the people to understand that, yes, there have been a mediation process, we still hold in high esteem our Constitution, and whatever it is, if the president wants to enforce this, we have to go by it?
Yes. For His Majesty, in fact, yesterday when you listen to his report, you realize that he has done a great job. He covered every facet of the whole process. Yeah. And his display of legal terminologies and making reference to decided Supreme Court cases indicates that he's done a lot on the ground and he has done a lot of thorough research as well. Now, he made a profound statement. He said, even we as chiefs, no matter how exalted we are, we cannot live above the Constitution.
Absolutely.
It is so profound. There is nobody in this country, Ghana, that is bigger than the Constitution. No matter how big you are subject to the Constitution. Now, the Constitution has provided modalities. The Constitution has even defined who a chief is. So what he's saying is that there has been processes to the extent that, in fact, this Boku issue started way back NRCD days. So he made reference to some even Supreme Court decisions, and he categorically stated that until the Supreme Court reviews its decision, we have to all accept the decision of the Supreme Court. So meaning that we need to abide by the Constitution, and the Constitution established the Supreme Court. And if the Supreme Court has spoken, then we all have to go for the Supreme Court decision. So what he said is important. We have to uphold our laws. It is our laws that keep us together. If there weren't laws, we'll just see somebody walking around or driving around it. If the car is so beautiful, you decided, look, today I'm driving your car, get out and let me have it. But because we have laws, you cannot do that. So what he's saying is so important. And I'm glad that this is coming from a chief, because I believe that he's setting the tone for all to know, even including himself. He said it, that we chiefs, it denotes that he himself is involved. So the parties involved are being called upon to embrace whatever the outcome will be. Whatever the outcome will be. And I think that it's about time that we accept this report and whatever modalities that will come from the president's statement regarding the way forward. Let's all come together. And it doesn't have to do with just the parties. It includes every well-meaning Ghanaians. Every well-meaning Ghanaian must be involved, all of us, because our comments can disrupt the process.
Yeah.
Even as we sit here this morning, we must be circumspective as to even the utterances we make. So this piece is a welcoming news, but it does not just end at the issuance of the report. It goes beyond just the issuance. We are waiting for the roadmap, and everybody must be involved so that we will all help for peace to be restored or brought back in Boku.
When you talk about involvement, and I'm sure this is the very last part of it that we'll all talk about, and then we'll move on to our next topic. But when you speak about involvement, there have been concerns about adding political parties into this. And some people vehemently disagree that we make political parties get involved. People think that maybe even on the board or committee or whatever we set up, we should involve the party. In fact, yesterday, Stephen Nasamwa said, no. It is something that he wouldn't even advise in the first place. These are concerns.
Yeah, we are fueling it. It's the politicians that are fueling it, you understand? Because when we go there, the pronouncements we make and so on. And again, the people there will want to live in peace. But unfortunately, someone sits in Accra and takes some decisions and go there in campaigning and so on. So involvement of political parties is a no-no. We shouldn't even do that at all. Because we, the politicians, as I said even last week or 2 weeks ago, that we are fueling what is happening there. If politicians are to take their hands off Boko, there wouldn't be any conflict, because definitely the politicians, because some people sponsor them. Someone in Boko with the rifles that they are holding and so on. They cannot afford it. But someone will buy these rifles and send it there. Someone will buy bullets and so on and send it there to them. And some people cash in, especially within this period. You heard the narrative that Dr. Bawumia had zeros in some polling stations. You heard people pushing it. Meanwhile, President Mahama too got zero in some polling stations, about 11 or so polling stations within the Natinga area. You understand? So the moment you start saying that, well, this group of people are for this, this group of people are for this, then it means you're not even building a country, because the parties themselves are supposed to have national character. They're supposed to be in every constituency, in every tribe, it's supposed to transcend every tribe, constituency, and so on. So the moment you try to even put some people together and say, these are NDC, these are MPP, and they are MPP or NDC because of their tribe, that is even a problem. And that is what we fuel as politicians. I am not really holding brief for anyone. I am a politician, even though in the recent past, there has not been any comment from our side of the divide, that is the MPP, at least calling on any tribe to say, well, these are our people and that are our people. But President Mahama, in 2024, went to Boku and told them that whenever MPP is in power, Boku is always in turmoil. And whenever NDC is in power, Boku's conflict comes down. There is a video to it. This is just as recent as the 2024 elections, just last year. You understand? That's why I'm saying that. Let's leave the politicians out. Let's leave it with government to have a roadmap. That's why I didn't even say government. I said if there is really a committee with the National House of Chiefs, the Council of State, and maybe some of the chiefs who will come together, even if Yabungura will be added and so on, so that they go there, then they sit and do the reconciliation devoid of any politician. Okay. That's what I think.
All right, sure. Let me go, and then Doc will take the last one, and then we'll move on to the next topic. You want to say anything about the political party involvement? About the reconciliation, the Otunfo even said that these people are ready to even accept 500 and bring all the ammunitions that they have. And as less as 500, we can retrieve all those ammunitions from them. Political parties gave them to them in the first place.
KMJ, for me, I think that, like I said earlier, all must get on board. All must get on board.
Except political parties.
Including political parties. Including political parties. You see, my colleague just said that some comment by political parties aggravates or exacerbates the situation. So there is the need for all political parties to get on board and get committed to the peace-building process. So if you take out the political parties and you are dealing with all the others, and the political party or a member of a party makes a statement that stokes fire into the whole process, then all the gains made so far would have come to nothing. So let's get them on board as well. All the political parties should also get on board. And if possible, they should even execute a peace-building agreement that we as a political party A or B, we are committed to the peace-building process, and we are pledging not to make any statement that will mar or draw us back. so that going forward, they are also part of it, so that we don't have a situation where while we are trying to build a system, then a politician will make a statement that will draw us back. We need them as well, because even the locals, some of them even hold some of the politicians in high esteem, even than the president. A politician can go there and call for calm, and they'll be calm. Even when the president probably shows up and say, hey, there should be calm, they wouldn't even listen to the president. So the political parties must be involved as well, but they should first execute a document indicating their position clearly, that going forward, we are calling for peace. And there are people on the ground who support them.
Okay.
Probably all they are waiting to see is one of their own people making a declaration that from today, we are desisting from all of these, and we are calling on all our people to be part of the peace building process. And we'll have peace. It will surprise you the gains we'll make if they are involved.
Oh, very well. Doc, I'll come to you. Let me speak to Musa Dankwa briefly. He's also going to comment on this, and then, Doc, you have the last stick, and then we'll dovetail into the issue of the election rerun as well. If you can hear me, good morning, Musa Dankwa, if you can hear me. Hello, sir, can you hear me?
Yes, good morning.
All right, good morning. I'm grateful for your time this morning. You're on the show.
It's my pleasure.
Great. I think one of the things that I wanted to comment on, it's just our last conversation on this issue. It has to do with political parties' involvement in this whole peace seeking that we all are looking for. You think that it's important that we involve political parties, so we shouldn't even try it at all?
Absolutely. I agree with your previous speaker on this matter. There are very influential people in our politics that really have respect and command respect in the North. And indeed, in many of these cases, those political actors' voices go far than even the president. So we should get them involved. We should get their buy-in. And look, we've lived with people from those parts of the country, and they respect their elders. Once the elders speak, and they speak sincerely, I think they will listen. We should call on those people to speak and to support the peace-building process. Oku has struggled and suffered a lot. A lot has been lost, and lives have been lost. The economy has been ruined, and the country is paying dearly for that. We need to find a way to move forward from this point onwards. And I hope that this will be the final kind of peace that we can sustain going forward.
In doing this, how do we stop them from making utterances that would even stoke fire in the entire process that we're trying to solve?
No, they have to be matured politically. So they have to have a sense of responsibility as political leaders. I mean, one comment from one political actor could really derail everything. And I hope when they are speaking, when they are on platform and they have a microphone, they should not lose their sense of nationhood and a sense of responsibility. And I think that is what normally happens with the politicians. When they're on a platform, I don't know what gets into their head, and they begin to say all sort of things. I hope they can always pin themselves and remind themselves that, look, the peace of this country is in their hands.
Very well. Thank you very much. I'll come back to you. Mr. Dankwa has also joined us this morning. He's Director for Global Info Analytics. Doc, you have the last word on this, and then we'll move on to the...
Well, so I think I completely agree with Musa Dankwa and with my colleague here. Look, the political players are a major stakeholder in this. I don't foresee that we can resolve the conflict situation in Boku without the active involvement of the political class, because they are a major stakeholder with interest. So in all the discussions that are going to happen, in the framework that would be designed, if you take out their part, you would not have a complete hold on the issue. They need to be sitting on the table. They need to be faced with the realities on the ground, and they need to responsibly contribute their quota to ensuring that we have lasting peace. And in fact, government, and look, it will include calling out ourselves as politicians where we have gone wrong. It would include calling out ourselves. So calling out politicians will not be out of place if it becomes necessary. And so for me, look, government is interested more than anybody else at this point to ensure that we enjoy lasting peace in Bawku. Because remember that as a government, His Excellency is faced with enormous challenges of building this country, of advancing development, of ensuring that the resources that are invested in just keeping the security at Bawku and its enclave alone is, rechanneled into other areas that could advance the lives of the people of this country. And so for me, more than anybody else, government is an interested party.
Okay.
And so that which is why you would find the agency that His Excellency attached to this matter, and which is why I can assure my colleagues that we will have a very neutral, transparent process designed to ensure lasting peace in Bawku. It will not be an opaque process because it's never been a part of His Excellency's government, and you can look at the framework that was set, even that same process, and I'm referring to the Dagbon case, that same process was led by His Royal Majesty Otumfuo, and we saw how the pathway towards peace in Dagbon was achieved. I have no doubt in my mind that same processes will be replicated, even if they have to be tweaked in a manner in tandem with the specificities of the case, of the situation in Bawku, to ensure that we get lasting peace. And so for me, all of us have a role to play.
Okay.
The chieftaincy institutions of this country have a role to play. The courts have a role to play. Civil society have a role to play. Citizens of Bawku have a role to play. And for me, all of them, we should encourage all of them to play their roles distinctively. And in that process, they ought to be shelving their private interest for the public good.
All right, many thanks. Now we'll move on to the next conversation. You can also send your thought to us. Our WhatsApp line is active. It's proudly brought to you by Franco Trading Enterprise, still phones Papa Pathie. And also we say a big thank you to Core Naturals fruit juice. You can also grab one today as you go about your daily activity. Now we'll move on to the suspension of Kpandai constituency around the elections according to the courts. Now we're looking at the January 13th when the case has been adjourned to. Let me start off with you, Mr. Nomayo. You are a constitutional lawyer. I'm sure that probably this didn't come to you as a surprise, looking at the trajectory of what we've seen when this case started.
The Supreme Court ruling didn't come to me as a surprise at all. As a matter of fact, the courts are courts of fairness, courts of justice, courts of equity. Now, when we come to the Supreme Court is the apex court of the land. The Supreme Court has general powers. The Supreme Court can do anything it wants to do. Look, the Supreme Court is the only court that has the power to depart from its own decision. The court can take a stand today, and in 3 days' time, a similar case will come and will say that, no, what we said was the law is no longer the law. We think that now this is the law. Now, the Supreme Court believes that, look, someone has brought a case. There's a case before the court, which we need to look at. We need to make a determination. Now, if we allow the rerun and we do not, as it were, stay the rerun, what if we make adverse findings or we come up with declarations that affects the outcome of their rerun? What happens? One, the court would have wasted its time. Two, the country would have also wasted money because you and I will attest to the fact that running an election is expensive. So what the court did was to prevent a situation of rendering its decision nugatory. It didn't want to engage in a situation whereby at the end of the day there is a hearing and the outcome becomes a futility because already we have jumped the gun. So what it sought to do was to apply a common sense approach. The case is before us. So wait until the case is determined. That is the proper thing. Because this principle started way back in the case of Dakpe, ex-party Dakpe. Okay. The court already said that, look, when there is an action pending that has a tendency to affect the outcome of the action you want to undertake, it is fair, just, and proper or equitable that you stay that action until the determination is made. So what the Supreme Court did was in line. Now, recently, if you recall, in the case of our former Chief Justice, Justice Tokono, she was also seeking to stay a constitutional activity. But in her case, the difference is that the Supreme Court then now said that, look, when it comes to staying a constitutional activity, you need the explicit orders of the court.
Okay.
If the mere service or the mere filing wouldn't constitute a stay. Okay. But the court should proceed to stay the process. That is when it becomes effective. Ordinarily in law, when a party is served a stay of proceedings or an application to stay, it denotes that you do not take any fresh steps. You have to wait. But in the Tokono case, the Supreme Court said, you know what? You cannot seek to enchant a constitutional function by mere service of an application. Therefore, going forward, if you seek to enchant a constitutional or stay a constitutional activity, the proper thing is that the court should issue the order. So if the court proceeds to issue the order, then the order is served on you. Then you have to abide by the order. And this is what the Supreme Court has done, that it has issued its order that EC, Electoral Commissioner, indeed, you have issued notice or notices that you are conducting a rerun. But we, the Supreme Court, in the spirit of fairness, we are telling you, wait until the matter is determined. Simple.
Okay.
And Supreme Court is Supreme Court.
Supreme Court is Supreme Court. Okay, I like that. Now, let me go to Mr. Dankwa. He's been involved in this, elections over the period, predictions and what is supposed to be happening with elections and all of that. Musa, would what is happening right now affects anything on the grounds in terms of if eventually we get to the point where we have to go for the rerun, who becomes the winner and who loses? Would this affect it in any way, looking at what is on the grounds?
Yes, thank you. Look, when it comes to election, time is very important. And if you have a race that is this close, it is better for it to be held quickly for the leader of the race to maintain the lead. If that race is delayed, it gives the person behind the chance to kind of plug the holes and catch up and probably make advances on his opponent. So what this would do is that it will afford the NDC the chance to have ample time to campaign. If you look at the poll that we had, the NPP was ahead by 4 points. Yeah, that's not much in terms of statistical difference. So if you say, okay, stay the election, wait until the court rules, and unless the court overturns the decision and maintains the endowment. If the other way happened, if the court kind of sustained the High Court ruling, then that would have afforded the NDC the chance to do whatever it needs to do in order to win the seat.
In terms of projections, you mentioned the difference right now. Would the difference, if we go for the rerun, be huge, or it will still be that tight?
It could change, because when you have more time, you have more time to convince minds either to extend your lead or someone to catch up with you and then probably bolt away.
So the margin starts to be bigger now in terms of who leads.
The longer the time, maybe the bigger the margin. In my view, because look, at the rate, sometimes we do calculate the daily loss of your vote. If on the daily rate you are losing 0.1% and you have more days, then you can see that multiplying 0.1 by 14 days is bigger margin than multiplying 0.1 by 3 or 4 days. So sometimes that really affects the candidate. But again, I mean, if you look at this race, NDC is the one with the resources, with the money, with the government incumbency. So the more time they have, I mean, the more time they have.
That's going to play a very significant role in terms of who is in power, what they have, the resources and all that.
In our elections, it counts. I mean, you have to go to the electoral areas, mobilize people, engage them. Sometimes you know what they have been doing, catalysis, holes, fertilizers. It does happen. We can't deny this fact. And once that is done, there are those who vote based on what they get. That number is shrinking though. But in a close election, even if they are 10%, it could make a difference.
Interesting. I'll come back to you again, but I'm sure I will. Well, is the NPP happy about this, chain 10 of events?
Well, I think we're obviously not happy about what is happening today in this country. But I don't think there will be a rerun. I don't see a rerun coming, to be very honest.
Even after the Supreme Court has decided?
Looking at the facts of the case, I don't see any change in the status quo that will even warrant a rerun. I think by 13th, the Supreme Court will make a definite ruling, and that ruling will confirm that indeed Martin Windham was duly elected, and he will continue to work as the MP for Kpandai. Because you see, we have two cases pending. One at the Supreme Court and one at the Tamale High Court, where we seek to really injunct the process, which will be called tomorrow in the High Court, so that at least we will file an appeal. The reason is that the Supreme Court, the High Court in Tamale's ruling is still binding, just because it's a ruling of court, and we have to really stay so that until the determination of the case at the appeals court, which is where the entire process will terminate. Looking at the CI 127, the one we use for the elections, and even the Constitution Article 99(1) clearly stipulates how really the elections, especially petition, how it terminates. So we are upbeat that even tomorrow, the stay will be granted. If the stay is granted, it means Martin Windham can still go to Parliament from tomorrow after the stay is granted. That is the reason Dr. Bawumia said, why the indecent haste to declare the seat vacant, as the Speaker did. Because you see, if you check almost all the processes from the late to early 2000s, where you had Abu Dhabi and others, and even the recent one, Asinov. By the time the elections were conducted, there was no single case that was pending. I was happy when the constitutional lawyer here said that, well, in a case, he cited a case that until the case is really brought to its logical conclusion, you don't take any action, because if you're not careful, after taking that action, tomorrow, if really the court decides otherwise, you have created some problem. You understand? So that's the reason I'm saying that I don't see the case going into error. And looking at the facts of the case, the fact is that even the MP, when he petitioned Tamale High Court, did not seek for annulment of the entire resource. He said there were irregularities in 41 polling stations. And those irregularities warrant that indeed if they are able to declare those 41 polling stations they're able to quash, if the High Court is able to quash the 41 polling stations, he will be able to really win. And again, we have a lot of cases in this country where people went to the court. The court affirmed that we should go and run few polling stations. In Akwatia, for instance, we ran only 6 polling stations in 2012 for Baba Jamal to be the MP. You understand? So we're hoping and praying that even at that time, they will have protected the court, the Tamale High Court will have protected the over 100 polling stations that even WACPAL believe that there were no irregularities there. So but the judge said the entire process should be rerun. The problem with a rerun is that, you see, Musa Dankwa will confirm that in any by-elections, the apathy is there, and the number of people who will turn up to vote will just be very low. Because you see, in general elections, people move from all over to go to their constituencies to vote. But now someone is in Accra working. If you ask him to go back to Kpandai to vote, he will not go. So that's the reason we're saying, and it's
that would affect the outcome.
Yes,
it's what the NPP is scared of.
Exactly. No, you see, we're not scared of that constituency. If you are to look at the data,
well, it looks good in your favor.
No, I'm saying that this is a typical NDC constituency. A typical NDC constituency from 1992. the NDC have been winning the presidential.
But you still think that it looks good in your favor?
In 2012,
Yindam won it.
It was after Yindam came in 2012, so they voted for that personality, not the political party. Even today, that we are not even on the grounds campaigning. There are NDC polling station executives campaigning for Yindam. And that was what happened even in 2024.
That's what I'm saying, that it looks good in your favor, but why are you scared to go for the rerun?
Why must we go for a rerun when an illegality is being perpetrated? Then we should rerun the entire country. Because today, if we were to rerun the entire country, I am upbeat that the NPP will win the elections.
Is it?
Yes. So that's why I'm saying that you shouldn't really go there that go and rerun. The thing is that we are even saying that the judge shouldn't have even entertained, that is what is in Supreme Court, shouldn't have even entertained the writ at all, because the date of Gazette was on the 24th of December, and the date in which he petitioned the High Court was on the 25th. So it is 32 days. And if you look at the CI 127, it's supposed to be within the 21 mandatory days. And it is beyond the 21 days. They said they used the Gazette that was done on the 6th of January to really file it on the 25th of January. But you see, there's a Supreme Court ruling on the date of Gazette, and it came on the 11th of June, that on the date of Gazette, in the Akwatia case, the date of the Gazette is on the 24th. So clearly, that's why I'm saying that on the 13th, I am upbeat that the Supreme Court would declare that indeed the Tamale High Court lacks jurisdiction in the determination of that case. So definitely, Martin Yindam should continue as MP for the next 3 years.
All right, very well. Doc.
You know, the most laughable comment I have heard in the very recent time is the one that suggests that if we were to go for elections today, the NPP will win. In spite of everything that...
You don't believe so?
I mean, it's only 9 months or 10 or 11 months down the line from 2024. And the people of this country hasn't forgotten about the misconduct that we saw in the previous government. We haven't forgotten about the many instances of misbehavior that we saw. We haven't forgotten about the economic woes that the people of this country went through. We haven't forgotten. In fact, we haven't forgotten about the recklessness of people in positions of power. Look, let me tell you, as we speak today, the reset agenda, and we have seen it, the reset, the goodwill that His Excellency's government, President John Dramani Mohammed's government, is enjoying, is almost unprecedented. It's almost unprecedented. And it's not for nothing. It's not out of the blue. It's been orchestrated with intentionality because of exactly what the people of this country, because of the actions that this government is methodically taking to ensure that we reset this country, we ensure that we are on the best of development trajectories, the structure of the economy is impacted significantly, and we are seeing strategic projects all across the countries in this light. So for me, look, projects, absolutely. And if you want us to go into that, we absolutely, we can count them one after the other. But having said that, this is what we need to realize. Look, fact of the matter is that there was a parliamentary candidate who was dissatisfied with the way that the elections went. The parliamentary candidate, which is the NDC's parliamentary candidate, on his own decided to petition the High Court, which has clear jurisdiction under Article 99(1) of our Constitution, to actually hear that matter. The judge sat on the issues, heard both parties, and delivered a 155-page judgment. 155. It surprises me that when our colleagues in the NPP speak, the only area which they highlight is the fact that the petitioner was only seeking an annulment of 41 polling stations. But he sought far more than that. He raised concerns around the breach of Regulation 39 and 43 of CI 127, making alleging that there were so many inconsistencies and irregularities, even challenging the public declaration of the elections in the manner that it was declared was inconsistent with 43. What happened? The NPP, together with Electoral Commission officials, Nicodemously sneaked out of Kpandai, went to a location in Tamale. Daniel, the NDC candidate, was not there. His representative was not there. They went and declared the elections. They declared the results. What does that call to question? If he raises a matter like that, what does that call to question? It calls to question the entirety of the elections. He sat on the facts, heard both sides, eventually decided that there should be a rerun. Thankfully, the Constitution makes provision for further steps and reprieves for both for both parties, the candidates. And so they sought to seek, the Supreme Court's supervisory injunction, in order that the Supreme Court, under a certiorari, could quash the judgment of the High Court. But the substantive matter of a certiorari has not been heard. It has not been heard. And if I am wrong, lawyer, please tell me. It has not. Which is what will be heard on 13th January. Which is what will be heard on 13th January. Except that in the wisdom of the Supreme Court is saying stay execution of the judgment of the High Court. Correct? Stay execution of the judgment of the High Court. Which means that instead of us going to run the elections as was directed or ordered by the High Court, we will no longer have the liberty to go and run the election. We will wait. When they hear the substantive matter and make a judgment on it, then we will now know whether or not.
Yeah, we will have the rerun.
We will have the rerun. We will now know whether or not. It is sub judice. It is even sub judice for my colleague here sitting on the other side, Awal, to predetermine that he is very sure. He is very sure that they will not be. He is very sure. He is reading the minds of the Supreme Court.
I mentioned that per what we have presented.
We have presented.
Yes, I'm confident about
but
on what we
these
have
are matters
presented.
before the Supreme Court, my lawyer advised him appropriately. So
the advice will come to you and Kwakpal because he dodged summons. Service. And that is the reason it was really rescheduled to 13th. Yes.
There are several forms of service.
No, that is
Even just the media.
Let's take some counsel.
The Supreme Court even asked us.
No. Constitute service.
No. It doesn't. It doesn't. So the Supreme Court has given an order.
You can't allow me out.
Hold on. Let's see some counsel. Let's
it's a little unfair. I haven't finished.
Yeah, learn from me and then let's.
But he said his lawyer. He referred to me as his lawyer. So this one is on record. I'll ask my office to issue him with an invoice.
Pro bono. For now, it's pro bono. Okay. So in my candid opinion, in my very candid opinion, all of us, should be happy that under this government, the institutions of state are performing their independent duties as enshrined in the Constitution without any form of interference. We have had election petitions before in this country. And we all refer recently to the most recent one, which is the Asinov case, the Jachi question involving Honorable Jachi question. And how even service of court processes was such a nightmare. There were too much interferences from too many powerful people in this country in that case that even service of court projects, service of injunction, the registrar said he wasn't working. And the court processes could not be served.
Look, you'll have to wrap up for me.
Do you understand that? But today, even the highest court of the land is making pronouncements that perhaps, and I'm not saying that would have happened, that perhaps we would not have seen. So for me, look, all of us...
we will not have seen?
So for me, all of us should be very excited that institutions are working well.
Okay.
The Supreme Court is working well. We expect that the Electoral Commission will also be doing its work, and we expect that Parliament, whatever its role is, will be doing its work so that eventually the wisdom ingrained in separation of powers, we will reap the full benefit of it.
Okay, all right. Very well, thank you. Musa Bankwa is also still on the line with us. Musa will be responding to some of the things that Awal said in terms of who wins and who doesn't win if we decide to go for an entire, election in this country. But let's you don't want to hear that. Let's seek some counsel on this very matter. Shoshora, what are we talking about?
Okay, when we talk about certiorari application, what it denotes is that you are seeking to quash the entire process. You are seeking to quash the process of the lower court. Now, when the certiorari application is granted, the court can grant it partly or wholly.
Okay.
So
that's your discretion.
Of course, it's a discretionary remedy.
Okay.
So what the NPP is seeking to do now is that they are aggrieved by the outcome of the case in the Tamale High Court. So I believe they have filed an appeal. I've seen the record, the process, and they have subsequently filed a certiorari. So what they are seeking to do at the Supreme Court, the Supreme Court has supervisory jurisdiction over all the courts in the country. So what they are seeking to do is that they have invoked the supervisory jurisdiction of the Supreme Court to quash, that's to say, to nullify the process. And they have actually listed out what they're asking for. Okay, so if I want to go straight to your question, what they are seeking to do is that they want to nullify the outcome of the case.
Yes, okay.
That's what they are seeking to do.
Okay.
Yes.
Now, any other issue you want to respond to based on what Doc and Awala?
Oh, yes. They were talking about the issue of service, blah, blah. The court, in its wisdom, has provided modalities.
Okay.
Whereby you file a process, you want to serve a party, and you cannot find a party. For me, I think that it's not always the case that probably the party is running away, or it could be that the party is evading service. That's what we call in legal terms, evading service. That's avoiding the service of the process, or probably the person is out of the jurisdiction. But the question is, whatever I'm suffering from, should I keep waiting until you show up for me to serve you? You cannot do that. So the court has provided service by substitution. Service by substitution simply means that I cannot find him. So give me the opportunity to serve the fellow by other means.
Okay.
Otherwise, under our laws, every court process must be served on you personally. That is, if it's an individual. It must be served on you personally. And we have a process for serving a corporate body as well. When you are serving a corporate body, you serve a high-ranking officer. You can't just go and give a service that you are giving to a corporate body, like say Joy FM. You get here, Joy News. You get here, you give it to the security that have served you. You can't do that.
Okay.
It's not proper service. So before you also apply for substituted service by substitution, you ought to have attempted serving the person personally at least 3 times.
Okay.
So the court bailiff is supposed to enumerate the dates that those services were attempted and it failed. So when those things are provided to you, you apply to the court. And this is what I think the NPP have done. And the court has indicated that, yes, we have granted the service by substitution. One, go and paste the notice in the Supreme Court notice board. Let's have it pasted there. 2, go to Tamale and paste it on Tamale High Court notice board as well. 3, go to his residence and display the process there as well. And then proceed to serve him on WhatsApp as well.
Okay.
So if you accept by these 5 modes, you cannot say you didn't see it or you have not received it. At least you live there. If you are not there personally, an agent of yours, your family, or somebody who lives in your hood, well, at least I saw some people pasting something on your wall. You should send somebody to check for you. And probably your WhatsApp as well. If you haven't received, your WhatsApp is not active, then you should be able to hear of it or have your attention drawn to the fact that a process has been served on you. Okay. So for service by substitution, it's a standard practice. It's not something new.
Okay.
It's applicable in all the courts.
He was dodging. So yesterday the court asked us to go and do that. We expect to see him on the 13th because he was dodging. That is the reason the court asked us to do that.
Let me go to Musa Danko. Musa, I know this will be a tough one. I want to believe so strongly that if we're supposed to be voting today, the entire country, the NPP has a better chance of winning the elections than the NDC will.
Let's start from voters who believe the country is headed in the right direction. About 66% are saying that now the country is headed in the right direction.
Okay.
And John Mahama is approved by almost 67%. And there's no record anywhere in the world where somebody gets disapproval and goes to election and lose.
So I just have a question. On his own data, I just want to find out. This is the last one that he had done. The one that he did in April, what was the approval rate?
Okay, Musa, did you hear that?
Yeah. In polling, you don't go back to the old data.
No, I just want to know. I just want to know.
What I'm simply saying is that if you are
it is dwindling
by 66% of voters and require only 50 plus 1 to win, there is no way such a candidate will lose the election. And indeed, there's an ongoing poll that will come out in January.
Okay, so Musa,
if these were held.
Not to interrupt you, but I'm asking, so based on what you did previously and what we are seeing now, what's the margin in terms of difference? Is it reducing?
If you compare the approval rating to where Mahama was, he's on by more than 10 points.
Say that again. He's reduced with 10 points, or he's up?
No, he has increased his election outcome to where he is to the approval rating by 10 points.
That should answer your question then a while.
Approval rating doesn't actually tell in actual vote. What I'm telling you today is that in January, the report we are doing now, we've asked people if they were to be given a second chance to vote and they were the same candidate, who would they vote for? So that result will be coming out in January.
Okay, but from what we are seeing now, there's
no way he's going to lose.
There's no way the NPP will win that election. Are you satisfied now?
Because you see, I have the same global info analytics.
Yeah.
That
he actually answered your question.
Mahama's approval ratings dropped from 73 to 67 in July. You understand? And elections will not be held today. Definitely there will be preparations and so on towards the elections. That's why I'm saying that his fortunes keeps on dwindling.
Well, that's the reason that if we're supposed to do it today, and I'm sure based on that,
because you see, he was at 73. Now he is 67. His approval rate keeps on dwindling. Looking at the broken promises and so on. Looking at the
it's not reducing.
But this is the same Musa Danko's report. It is the global info analytics.
Can you hear me? Hello, Musa.
I can hear you.
Yes, he's put out a certain document which indicates that he's moved from 76 to
73 to 67.
67. Yes. Are these figures correct?
It is correct, but it doesn't mean that at that level he can lose an election.
Okay.
I didn't say that.
It is 67. No, you said if
He said that we were supposed to do it today. He will lose.
Yes, because
Based on
that's what
the
he's
facts,
referring to.
the
so
data.
I am only saying that because you see, his data is not. I have my differences with him, but I'm saying that even his own data is showing that the president's approval rating is dwindling. Because in July he was 73. Today.
But that is not the core. That's not the core of the issue. The core of the issue is if we're supposed to vote today, will he win? He says that based on the 66 that he has, he still stands a chance of winning.
Yeah, you see, the polls are not absolute figures. Even the Pew and others got it wrong in some polls and so on. So it may be wrong. These are assumptions. Yes, these are assumptions and so on. And he picked some sampling size to work with it. It works. But it can fail. Yes, he has been. He has been. To be very honest, I have had my differences with him, but at least the 2024 elections had proven me wrong. You understand? Because usually I have engaged him more often, especially on social media and so on.
I've read several.
Yes, but I believe that in 2024. He had a very good and credible polling, and it really reflected what he had done, and kudos to him. But I'm saying that polls are not really the actuals, you understand? At least they only give you a fair view of really the outcome of the elections. That's why I'm saying that. If his own post is saying that President Mahama from 73 had come to 67, and I know the reasons. Maybe he didn't attribute the reasons, but I know the reasons. The Women Development Bank didn't come. The 133 jobs are not in. The 1 million coders, you have not even trained even 10,000 people. You understand? The entrepreneurs within 1 year.
All these contributed.
All these contributed to the dwindling fortunes because at least you've broken the promises. You said within 100 days you repeal the LI 2462. To really end Galamsey. Today, the water turbidity is worse.
But that has been far.
You understand? These are the reasons.
The PR of the Minerals Commission Ministry posted a couple of weeks back, I think. So that process is almost done. It's been revoked.
Yes, I'm saying that. I'm saying that you said within 100 days.
Is that not a promise delayed?
Something you said within 100 days. You told the people of this country that it is Akufo-Addo who has sent people to mine in the forest.
So we're not doing it within 100 days.
Within 100 days.
Also contribute to his
that is true, but because someone voted for him because of that LI. Awula, the woman you always interview.
Oh, yeah.
She told you that indeed they came out to campaign and vote for Mahama just because they know that within the 100 days he will be able to do that. They had to force him into a meeting on the 3rd of October before he could admit on that day. The civil society had to meet him on the 3rd of October to tell him that you did not promise us you promised us a repeal and not really an amendment, because he wanted to amend the law when he promised a repeal. So I'm saying that it is indeed true that indeed President Mahama had an approval rating, but it is dwindling because in the last 1 year, there is no monumental thing that you can tell us that this government had done. He was talking about projects where there is no single chip compound that has been constructed, even though they have promised to construct 400 chip compounds within this year.
All right. Musa, before I let you go, we're almost wrapping up, but before I let you go, Musa, he mentioned that the 100 days unfulfilled promises contributed to, the dwindling that we're experiencing. How true is this?
Look, we can only speculate because we didn't ask people the reasons why they were rating him low or high.
Okay.
But what we saw in the data was that perception about corruption had edged down a bit in terms of the fight against corruption. Okay. And that we attribute that to lack of prosecution on the oral side. And I thought that was what was really driving his numbers down. In terms of the economic indicators, it was up, but on the oral side, it was down. So I would probably attribute his fall in the performance to lack of serious, what I would say, prosecution in the oral cases.
Very well. Thank you very much, Musa Danko, for joining us this morning here on the show. We appreciate you. Musa Danko is the Director of Global Info Analytics. Joined us this morning here on the show. I'm wrapping up in the studio. If I've got some messages, let me do them real quick before I get to say goodbye. That's if we have enough time to do that. But, Doc, Is this, you've got three years to redeem this, maybe go up a bit or maybe come down depending on what happens within these 3 years.
And interestingly, Mahama will be changed. You understand? So the dynamics will also change.
Mahama will be changed in terms of who becomes
his bank. No, just to, no, I'm helping you so that.
No, we have 3 years to redeem this. How are we going?
Well, so I think that Ghanaians are the best of judges. It's not about what we sit in studios here and say. Ghanaians are the best of judges. And we are seeing that the reset agenda is taking shape. Look, he's just making allusion to the fact that the Women's Bank did not come. To the 2025, budget makes clear provision for that, allocation for it. So, and he's even conjecturing about why the approval rate is. Look, let me tell you something. People of this country.
Things. I was thinking you also talked about the codes.
No, you talked about
codes.
No, but you see, we have a 4 year mandate. 4 year mandate. 11 months down the line, you are talking about codes and things like that. In any case, it takes time to roll out and see real, projects coming to life. Right? It takes time. Even the procurement processes alone, if you lay them out, how long are they supposed to take?
Training will not take the procurement.
Please, why? There won't be any consultant shepherding the training processes. It doesn't involve any kind of
the president
in any case, I'm not inviting you to the conversation. In any case, look, we will not dish out contracts in breach of our procurement law. We will not do that. We will stick to our timelines. We have a 4 year mandate. This government is focused on resetting Ghana. Within those four years, people may want to see a bit more speed in how things are done, particularly with the prosecutions that they are expecting in terms of people who must have embezzled state funds and all of that. And it's usually a very thorny issue. And every government historically have faced this. When you come into power, people want to see people being jailed very quickly. But you see, the laws have set out the processes. And for me, it's in the interest of all of us, myself, Awal, and my colleague in the city, and in general, Ghanaians generally, to allow people a fair hearing and apply the rules of natural justice and ensure that at the end of the day, when people are jailed, they are actually jailed for being guilty of the crimes. Nowhere did this government promise that we were going to repeal LI 24, etc., within 100 days. Nowhere.
Okay, no problem.
Nowhere.
I'll just pull the document for you.
Nowhere. Promise that we're going to accomplish a repeal of that. Nowhere. So it's unfortunate that we come to say things for political parochial interest. Okay. For me, in my very candid opinion, everything or the social contract that this government has with the people of this country will be delivered to the best of standards relative to what the expectations of Ghanaians are.
Okay.
At the end of the day.
Let me engage our viewers a bit. This one says, good morning. Please tell Awal that LI has been laid in Parliament to repeal the LI 2462. And that's George from Kofredia. And Sameh in Asamankasi says, I'm extremely disappointed that the current president have acknowledged that Boko is a very vital strategic and security point when he made a lot of political statements concerning it. I think the president should tender an apology to the good people of Boko and Ghanaians as a whole. Boko, whether the rerun even extended to 2 years, Kpandai people will still maintain honorable Nyinda. NPP is restructuring, rebuilding, and reuniting to wrestle power in 2028, and the battle is of the Lord. Best regards to Dr. Brian Champion and Samuel Oses Akodiye, aka SOS. Now, let me move to the next one. This one over here says, KMJ. Good morning. This morning, I just want to greet and thank all the chiefs and people of Boko for a while. I don't know why anytime I see him in any show, I always feel like wasting my time watching. He would never let us listen and learn from others. Master Rahman Sola Tuna in Calva sent in that one. Let me go to Master Planner. He says that Mohammed Awal, Kai Komi, Dr. Dramani and his NDC went to the grounds in Kpandai to campaign, but he realized that the grounds is not favorable for them. They are now hiding behind the Supreme Court's decision to suspend the rerun and behaving like our courts are working now. No matter how long it takes, Kpandai seat will remain for the NPP. The B is the B. And that's Master Planner sending in that one. From Gasti, he says that I congratulate Otumfuo Osei II for his statesmanship. Peace processes succeed when they are led by trusted neutral authorities, not politicians. Too often, political actors inflame tensions for electoral gain, as we have witnessed even during recent elections. I sincerely hope the recommendations include a ban on political campaigning in Bawku. Peace is not built by power seekers, but truth, restraint, and wisdom. We don't need any dirty politicians in this. Okay. Those your thoughts on that. Good morning, KMJ. Please ask the lawyer to educate us if one can mislead another in court and seek to benefit from the same misleading submission in court. We are told that the NDC candidate filed his first case before January 2025, but the NPP candidate and his lawyers opposed the first case, indicating that the Gazette he sought rely on was not the actual Gazette. He withdrew the earlier one and filed a new one with the 6th January 2025 Gazette. Should the same candidate now benefit from the misleading submissions? And that's Junior Kelson Casses who sent in that. Alasan says that good morning to everyone. Kudos to the Otumfuo Mediation Committee in finding lasting peace in Bawku, and we urge the people of Bawku to ensure that peace prevail for development to take place. The Supreme Court has done very well by directing the EC to suspend the rerun till all court cases are determined. In fact, the era of unanimous FC or our courts in the leadership of the former Chief Justice Tokono is gone, and gone for good, and the laws of our land are now working. But believe me, if the rerun is to happen, Kpandai will surely turn green. And regards to Honorable MP Joti and Honorable KT Morton. All right, those are some of the messages you've sent. Many of them. Let me see how many I can do before we go. Good morning, KJ. I think the Otumfuo mediation is a good one for Bawku and the entire nation. We cannot wait anymore, but to accept ourselves as one people with the common goal of building our communities, human resources, and enjoy growth in peace. This will be possible if stiffer measures such as some special stiffer prison terms of 15 years put in place for anybody who resort of sparking it again, specifically for politicians, sub-chiefs and opinion leaders who should know better. Secondly, the government should try to get a special and big factory built for the youth of Bawku to gain some employment, and also will stand as a symbol of unity for the people. Stephen Opoku sent in that. This one over here says, good morning, Joy Prime. What is Awal saying? Wasn't the rules of the electoral process broken? Come on, Alaji Awal, you can do better. Moses in Chiriponi sent in that. Good morning, KMJ. It is rather unfortunate listening to our party representative boasting of the NDC being attractive to the people when we, the grassroots, are getting disappointed with appointees like him who ignore calls from the grassroots. They should sit down and think everything is well. Musa from Kpandai. Okay, same Kpandai we're talking about. Alaji Hamza Ipek Farm says, good morning, my brother. Permit me to use this opportunity to commend Otumfuo for settling the Bawku dispute. He did it for the good people of Dagbon, and now the good people of Bawku. No wonder the president described him to be a national asset. I will advise that politicians stay away from comments that will destroy the peace in Bawku. Journalists and social media commentators should be careful about comments they put out in social media in connection with this peace, Bawku. My brother, Bawku has suffered a lot. I was happy to hear the president say that there will be a white paper on this issue within 24 hours. This goes to show how serious he is about the peace in Bawku. In fact, I am more than the word happy this morning to see enough, and to see that peace will finally return to Bawku. Bawku has suffered enough, and it's time to give peace a chance for development to take place. And Akonsi Gariba from Tamale says, good morning, KMJ. May peace prevail in Bawku. Amen. The Supreme Court ruling of the Kpandai by-election yesterday was a mark of a rule of law, and it must be continued throughout their rulings in subsequent cases. How can 41 polling stations challenge lead to annulling about 152 polling stations, which doesn't sound fair to Ghanaians? My regards to Alaji Mohammed Baumia and Kwame Acidity in Afro also sent in something, and okay, he says that happy birthday to my senior Okojo Preko Dankwa of Cousin Morning Show. That's a brother of mine as well. He celebrates his birthday today. Happy birthday going out to you, my brother Okojo Preko Dankwa. Good morning to your panelists. My name is Zion Abdul Raf from Damango in the Savannah region. Your panelists this morning are actually educating the masses, and many of us are learning a lot from their submissions. Peace is indeed what will bring Boko to its feet. May the Kusasis and Mampusis see themselves as one people after Otumfo's report. Greetings to Dr. Bukari Dramani. And this one is from, it says, good morning. About the scramble for Kpandai is about who will gain the seat. That's their interest. What of us, the voters? I wish NPP and the NDC fight about we in Zenu not having water. Water company are doing artificial shortage to sell water to water sellers in Zenu to sell to us in buckets. It's a big shame. Please, Joy Prime, use your media to help us in Zenu. Okay. We'll take a look at that situation as well, do a bit of findings on that. Good morning to you all. Look, politicians should stay away from chieftaincy disputes because they are making life unbearable for innocent citizens in our various communities. Their selfish interest is paramount, so they should avoid tamperance and respecting court verdict. Chieftaincy dispute came a long time ago, and that from Big J in Tamale. This one over here says, okay, let me go to this one over here. Maybe that'll be the last one that I'll do. It says, good morning, KMJ. Please, my name is Idris Mubarak from Damago in the Savannah region. Kindly extend my humble greetings to my erudite boss, Dr. Dramani Bukari, for his fantastic submission this morning. He's also always on top of issues, which we learn a lot from him. May Allah continue to guide and protect him for Mother Ghana to continue with this patriotic service to our beloved nation. I'm always proud of you, my boss. Inshallah, the sky is the limit. Many of you messages, but unfortunately I can't do all of them because our time is up. We have to go. But I couldn't have done this without the very distinguished gentlemen that joined me this morning. I'd like to say a big thank you to all of you for making time this morning for us. Don't forget, this flash is proudly brought to you by Frego Trading Enterprise, Still Phones, Papa Fie, Koa, Natural Fruit Juice also supported us this morning as well here on the show. I wish I could have the last words from you, but we can't do that. But unless, what is it?
This is the 120-day promise of President.
And it has in the
120 or 100?
120 days.
Okay, and then what is this
exactly? And on the 19th point, because there was a document that they brought.
I'll just read what is there because we don't have enough.
I'm saying that there is a document that they brought, and that is 120 days.
So clearly, you agree that it's not 100 days, it's 120 days.
But
that's number one. Number two, read what it says.
Oh, you see?
No,
I mentioned 100 days, but we all know it is 120 days. Because I made a mistake by saying 100 days.
So
the promise was 120 days.
And what is there?
Ban illegal and new mining activities in forest reserve.
Go ahead.
Right?
Go ahead.
Roll out a tree for plant and so on. But the catchword is that ban illegal and new mining activities. Did he do that?
So this one is not
in the forest reserve. It was not done.
What do you mean it was
up to now? But people are still mining in forest reserve today. And you said you ban it within 120 days.
No. By your word or by the actions of what Parliament
you
did?
said you will ban it within 120 days. Now today, people are still
of the law by Parliament. That's sought to banish this.
That is not correct. That's not correct.
So they can find out. That's not correct.
They can find out. Are you talking about a repeal?
Yes.
Or you're talking about?
I'm talking about the repeal because you see, initially before the LI, you could not mine in the forest reserve. You understand? Now. Before the LI, you cannot. It
was the LI that gave
in the forest reserve.
You brought.
Then in 2024, the organized labor and the media and everyone were saying that repeal that law. Then we initiated a process. Then President Mahama went to Bolga and told them that if we are not able to do it within the period, when he comes, he will repeal it. Then he affirmed it by putting it in his manifesto that indeed within 120 days he will ban mining in forest reserve.
So
you cannot ban it without repealing the law, because the law is there.
Process, yeah.
You understand? That's the process. So within 120 days, you didn't ban it. Today, people still mine in the forest reserve because the law is still in existence.
No. So,
all right. The lawyer is here.
No. It's not something we can debate on right now.
Exactly. Because one, we don't have time.
You can't lie that you didn't promise to repeal the law with 120 days.
And this will be all.
Did I lie?
Yeah, you lied.
You said 100.
No. I made a mistake by saying 100.
You also admit your mistake, but don't say I've lied.
You said you didn't.
It's wrong for you to call me a lie. And I even expect that you should be apologizing to me. Because you said I lied. I didn't lie.
Because
you rather lied.
You rather
Did you?
lied. Because you said you didn't promise.
Did you say
you said you didn't promise to do it within 120 days.
And I used your words. We did not within 100 days. I said that. Did that amount to a lie?
Is that not a lie? Because the facts I presented is that you did not do it within the 120 days.
Did that amount to
that? Is it? Because when I mentioned
what
if you had not told me, if you had not told me that, are we on air?
What exactly was the lie?
Because I saw you sign out, so I was thinking.
I don't think we are.
I actually. There's no more coming up on the show this day.